We've been tracking this story for weeks now, the fraud networks, the phantom programs, the billions in missing taxpayer dollars, and it all comes together. President Trump just connected the dots that we have been showing you and named 3 states bleeding America dry: Minnesota, California, and Illinois. That's where I live. But here's the thing. If it's happening in 3 states, how many others are running the same playbook? We're going to keep going and keep digging until we find out. Now, you've seen this reported on the show. The fake daycares with no playgrounds, the meal programs serving ghost children, the NGOs with no addresses and no accountability, phone numbers that go right to the governor's office. President Trump put the confirmed number at $19 billion stolen, and he made clear that this is only what investigators have found so far. The real number is likely far higher. The FBI surveilled one Minneapolis location for 6 weeks. The operation claimed to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids daily. The reality? About 40 people actually walked through the door. The same pattern emerging in California, same pattern in Illinois. Federal funds flowing into networks tied to political operatives. Oversight stripped away, whistleblowers silenced. And if 3 states are doing this in plain sight, how many more are hiding it even better? That is the question that we are going to answer. Now, when the government can't be trusted with your tax dollars, you have to ask yourself, who can you rely on? Well, the simple answer is you. If the power went out tonight, if stores were empty tomorrow, would your family be ready? Most people are not. That's why I recommend My Patriot Supply. Right now, they have a special deal on their 3-month emergency food kit. Save $100 while supplies last. Over 2,000 calories a day for 90 days. Real meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks. Last up to 25 years. Made in the USA. No MSG, no junk. When the system fails, your family still eats. Go to preparewithgary.com. Get prepared and get peace of mind. And here's the new development that we have been waiting for. When DHS agents arrived in Minneapolis to investigate, Hilton Hotels launched a coordinated campaign to cancel the reservations using official government emails. Hotels refusing service to federal law enforcement. Think about that. The system protecting itself in real time. President Trump responded by naming California and Illinois alongside Minnesota. Same fraud, same playbook, same political machine. 3 states exposed. But this show is not stopping there. We're going to keep tracking this story because where there's smoke, there's fire, and we intend to find every state running this scheme. Now, I want to get to the president's remarks that he made on Air Force One, because that really points us in the direction that we need to start. It gives us a good foundation because President Trump knows that it's happening. And I know I have the clip here. Here it is.
It's almost not even believable. This very stupid, low IQ governor, he's a very stupid man because, you know, I had a campaign against him with JD. And he's a stupid man. And he's a corrupt politician. And the Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion, but that's only what they can find. So usually when you're looking at 19, that would mean it could be 50. But the numbers are astronomical. Think of it. They have a dead country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. They don't have a military. All they do is run around shooting people and trying to capture ships. You know, we don't let them take ships anymore. You know why? We use the same exact missile on them that we use on the drug carriers. And it's very effective. So you notice there's nobody capturing ships anymore? Because as they head out to go capture the ship, and the ship doesn't want to fire back because it's very flammable stuff in many cases. And the insurance companies don't want, because they build $1 billion ship, and they don't want anybody firing rockets into the ship. But we're hitting them so hard, and it's very similar. Same missile system. It's called deadly accurate. And do you notice that ships aren't being taken anymore? The pirates are...
That's right. I hadn't thought about
that. The pirates aren't... Well, no.
No Somali pirates.
It's actually very easy. They head out, we say, guess what? There's pirates. Bing, that's the end of the pirates. The shipping business is coming back because, see, these are little things that we're doing. And I'm doing it not just for American ships. I'm doing it worldwide. because we don't want ships taken by Somalia pirates. But what they are doing is they're stealing money from the American taxpayer. And every one of them should be forced to leave this country, including Ilhan Omar, who's a total crook. And she's one of the leaders of it. Not the only, because she's not that smart. But think of it. $19 billion at least they've stolen from Minnesota and from the United States. It's actually more from the United States because Minnesota puts in, and we're not going to pay it anymore. We're going to have Waltz go pay. We're not going to pay them, and we're not going to pay California, and we're not going to pay Illinois with that big slob of a governor that they have. It's almost not even.
Illinois is getting cut off too. You see, he recognizes what is happening and where it all begins. But it really begins with Nick Shirley, man. This guy, again, deserves the presidential medal, the congressional medal. This was 4 hours ago. Nick Shirley exposing that there are 1,200 medical transport companies in Minnesota.
Have that many.
And so what's the need, for example, for 1,200 transportation companies inside of Minnesota? What's the need for that many transportation?
Well, there isn't. There isn't. You're talking about getting a right. You already have services that are provided. You have Metro Mobility that offers free rides to seniors and low-income people. And so to have that many non-emergency medical transportation companies, it's not possible that they can transport that many people. I have been to many of these transportation companies, and I've been time-stamping my photographs for a whole year at one facility in Minneapolis. And those vans in that parking lot had not moved 1 inch in an entire year. They're all still sitting there.
And so when you think about it, you have, with the transportation companies, you have the adult care centers. So are they working hand in hand together to then say, we're getting the services from them, the adult daycare centers, to then transport them to their appointments?
So my feeling is this transportation deal.
And so what's the need, for example, for
1,200 medical transportation systems. An Ohio Somali daycare fraud exposed big time. Citizen journalist I'm Fired Up Too and Mickey Cook walk in to ask simple sign-up questions. Worker goes berserk, door slams. Uh-oh. Ohio.
I'm calling the police.
Get back! Get back! Get back!
Don't touch me!
Don't touch me!
Get back!
Don't touch me!
Don't touch me!
Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back!
Holy shit! He just pushed me. I'm calling the police.
Wait. Don't call the police.
Did you see that?
Yeah. All right. So, the heck, what just happened?
He just freaking pushed me. I just walked in there and he just started pushing me and screaming, "Get back!" I'm calling the police.
As you can see, folks, all we did was go in. We were going to ask some questions. And we were attacked here at Jubba Daycare, 614-269-7042, right here in Columbus. All we did was walk in the door. You saw the man come out. He grabbed a hold of Mahek, tried pushing her. And that's how fast things happen. That's how screwed up this place is right now, is these people are all about being violent. We didn't do anything wrong. It's a business. It's right here. Get back! Get back! Get back!
Don't touch me!
Don't touch me!
Get back!
Don't touch me! Don't touch me!
Get back! Get back!
So this daycare fraud is happening everywhere. California fraud bombshell dropping. Whistleblowers expose up to $250 billion in taxpayer theft across the state. Fake community college apps, scamming student aid, pay to play in K through 12, and endless waste and abuse. $250 billion stolen while Newsom swamp parties on. This is beyond criminal. It's treason against taxpayers. Gunther Eagleman writes, Elon Musk called it, California's rot is deeper than Minnesota. Time to unleash Doge, slash the waste, jail the grifters, remove Gavin Newsom, radical reform now.
Losing 250 whistleblowers tell GOP candidates that California could be losing $250 billion in the state's education system, including reports of fake community college applications, scamming student aid funds. Which brings us to a different kind of fraud. Ghost daycares. And whistleblowers tell GOP candidates.
Ghost daycares, man. You just saw what happened. What's going on in Ohio? Trump targeting California in fraud probe, and Newsom claims he welcomes the investigation. All right. Just like Maduro welcomed him too, right? As investigations into fraud in Minnesota continue, Trump announced a new fraud investigation in California. These moves follow findings released by Steve Hilton and Herb Morgan from their Califraudia tip line investigation. They allege widespread pay abuse in California's K-12 education system. Prior reports described lack of accountability in homelessness and social welfare funding, raising the risk of fraud and waste. The California State Auditor already has flagging high-risk issues in programs, including CalFresh, unemployment insurance, and Medi-Cal eligibility. Sheriff James Mendrick, I believe we'll find that Illinois is involved with as much fraud or even more than Minnesota. And he is running for governor of the state of Illinois. I met his wife recently, lovely lady, and I wished him the best of luck in his campaign. He was quote tweeting the excuse me, the Illinois Republican Party from 6 days ago. Hundreds of state employees improperly stole millions of COVID relief money using made-up businesses or fake income reports. That was the Illinois Republican Party finally doing something. Brian Simons, 3 hours ago, as an Illinois resident, I support President Trump's action to stop the fraud. He was quote tweeting Tammy Duckworth. It doesn't get more wicked than this. Donald Trump is cutting $10 billion for child care and social services in Illinois and other blue states. I wonder why. Because it's never even reaching the people. Health Department to freeze $10 billion in funding in 5 Democrat states. That's the headline she's writing. The funding pause could jeopardize child care and other programs that serve hundreds of thousands of households in California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. And, oh, yes, there is a rape proposed community note flagging her. The funds are being stolen. The funds are being frozen because there were no children present at the facilities receiving funds. Let's go into this community note. Let's go deeper. This is good. I love community notes. The funds are being frozen because there were no children present at the facilities receiving funds when audits were conducted in the states in question. This is not political. It's common sense and just to the taxpayers that aren't defrauding the U.S. government. So Tammy Duckworth is oh no, my entire kickback scheme is getting exposed. How much is she getting kickbacks to look the other way? That's a question we need to ask. Say if Minnesota is billions deep in fraud, how are your investigations geniuses doing in Illinois? In the most corrupt state, that would be shooting fish in a barrel, or do we need to send a kid with a cell phone? Michael Holstrom. This is the action Minnesotans have been waiting for. The Trump administration is acting where the Democrat administration failed. This is what I voted for.
Dana, to knock on the ground. They say they see these daycare centers, adult daycare centers, autism centers, home health care centers all over the place. So that's why DHS has to be here, Dana, to knock on these doors and say, you've received this much money. What'd you do with it? So we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, glad you're there. Thank you, Alexis.
So Liz,
the ground, They say they see.
How much did you get? What did you do with it? Nate Morris, American citizenship's a privilege, not a scam. If you defraud our country or commit serious crimes after taking the oath, Congress should revoke that privilege and send you home. Hats off to Senator Schmidt for recognizing the fact Congress needs to vote this through now. So Eric Schmidt introducing 24 hours ago legislation to revoke the U.S. citizenship of those who defraud our country or commit other felonies after taking their citizenship oath. And they should start with Ilhan Omar.
Biden administration. It's a pretty stunning development. And in fact, I'll be introducing some legislation to make it easier to denaturalize individuals who've committed this kind of fraud in our country. We need to go after this fraud. We need to have more tools to make sure this kind of fraud doesn't happen. But it's a really stunning development. I think it also tells you, Harris, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the Somali-based fraud that had to do with these daycare centers. There's also a bunch of money went out the door at the end of the Biden administration that had nothing to do with COVID. COVID, but it was under the auspices of these COVID funds. I think you're going to see another wave of fraud. So I think that's probably at the heart of why Tim Walz's demise here is headline news. But, you know, the other fraud that was perpetrated when he was picked as the running mate, he was supposed to be, you know, Governor Jazz Hands would come out on stage. He wasn't appealing to.
Oh, where'd we go? Sorry. Lost it. My bad.
Offer to deal with the fact, you know, Governor Jazz Hands would come out on stage. He wasn't appealing to young men. I mean, this was the best they had to offer to deal with the fact that their party had completely tacked to the left over the last decade. And so Tim Walz is kind of the poster child, I think, for not only how out of touch the Democrats are, but how corrupt they are when they actually govern. It's a pretty stunning development. And in fact,
it's official. Tim Walz has quit the governor's race. You may have heard. This is 24 hours ago. But do not allow him to get away with his crimes, Nick Sordo writes. Fully investigate and prosecute him. Yeah, he's running, scared.
This has major breaking political news out of St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tim Walz will not seek re-election as governor, and what a fall from grace this has been for him. You might recall in the spring of 2023, he pushed through several progressive ideas to the state legislature that caught the attention of Barack Obama, who went to Twitter to give his endorsement for the programs, which eventually caught the attention of people like Kamala Harris, who chose him to be her running mate as the vice president. Introduced in Chicago at the convention in August of last year, a debate that was an absolute disaster with J.D. Vance at one point called himself a knucklehead. But after reportedly billions of dollars have been stolen from taxpayers by way of the state of Minnesota, Tim Walz says he will not seek a third term. What a remarkable 2 years in the national spotlight has been for him, Dana.
And
what a fall from grace, huh? From VP nominee to getting taken down by a YouTuber. Are you over Democrat leadership in California? California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton is.
They were sending out
in unemployment fraud, $5.9 billion. What are they talking about?
Oh, yeah. Where's that against the $55 billion that they lost? I mean, they were sending out unemployment checks. This goes back to the pandemic to people in jail, overseas, dead people. I mean, they had 3 million people on their actual books who should have been receiving money. 9 million actually got money. That's on their own numbers. So the real point is that this is what happens when you have one party rule for so long. It's 16 years now next year. No one else in charge, just the Democrats. It breeds complacency and corruption and arrogance. They don't think there'll ever be any political consequence for this. They don't care what happens in the real world. You've got someone like Newsom whose only concern is his own political future and running for president rather than delivering results for Californians. And that's why people are just going to say, we're done with this. We're done with this one-party rule. We've got to have some change in California.
In unemployment fraud.
It's not just California. It's Illinois. I mean, what we have to endure here under that fat slob is unbelievable. Here's more from Nick Shirley. This is 48 hours ago. Posting a video exposing another Somali daycare getting shut down and reopening under a different name. When they reopened, they got $2.4 million. We the people want a refund. Do you support this?
Was reopened then. Here in Minnesota, blatant fraud is taking place within the government and the Somalian population. Right here, you see a daycare center. It says it's Creative Minds Daycare. Creative Minds Daycare was actually shut down and was reopened the next day underneath the name Super Kids. And just in the past year, in 2025, this daycare alone has received $2.45 million. It's rumored here that some of these daycares and these other businesses that are committing fraud have been rumored to be giving money back to terrorist groups in Somalia. There's a 35% chance on Polymarket right now that those people who helped defraud the government will be deported back to Somalia. But this daycare alone received over $2.45 million. So maybe if you want to become a millionaire here in the United States, you should open up a daycare center and receive government funding from a governor like Tim Walz here inside the state of Minnesota, because these people are making $2.45 million. And right now you have a BMW, Range Rover, BMW, and a van outside of this daycare center here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Well, pretty soon, Tim Walz is going to be living in a van down by the river, if not his own private cell. So let's keep going, because the story doesn't end there. No room at the inn. Homeland Security posting this. Hilton Hotels has launched a coordinated campaign in Minneapolis to refuse service to DHS law enforcement. When officers attempted to book rooms using official government emails and rates, Hilton Hotels maliciously canceled the reservations. Let's check in with Jack Posobiec. And this is 24 hours ago, saying something going on in Minneapolis.
Today, you got to focus.
Minneapolis and the earthquake there of Walls, and Caracas, Lower Manhattan, right? For the American people in the MAGA movement today, what is more important?
Well, today you got to focus on, you have to absolutely focus on Minneapolis, and you have to figure out what's going on. Why is it this one city, Steve? Think about it. George Floyd, Minneapolis, all right? The trans shooter at the Catholic school, Minneapolis, just 2 weeks before Charlie Kirk's murder, was up there in Minneapolis. The massive Somali fraud, Minneapolis. There's something, and the great Liz Collin over at Alpha News perhaps could answer this better than me. There's something going on in Minneapolis that for some reason all of our national stories, these national narratives seem to converge there. Maybe it's a convergence site. Maybe it's a place where the Democrats and the left and the globalists are converging their forces. Honestly, I don't even know the answer for it. But what I do know is that Minneapolis 30 years ago did not have these problems. Yeah. They did not have the massive importation of Somalis there. And these scams, this insanity was not being run. Then they pluck up Tim Walz. They try to push him out. They push him out of his bubble in Minneapolis. And suddenly when real media gets a sense of him, and when the broader media gets a sense of him, they're not completely bought off, then we made short work of him. And by the way, Steve, mark my words, we'll do the exact same thing to Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania that happened to Tim Walz.
Whoa.
So Joshy, little Joshy,
Whoa.
Take a good look at Tim Walz right now. That is your future the minute you try to step out of Pennsylvania.
Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah. The noose is tightening everywhere. One giant scam, says Elon Musk. 90% of small businesses fail, yet the Samara Adult Daycare still has their lights on without having one customer.
Today, adult daycare.
People who 220 is finished.
Okay.
Why you take it?
I'm sorry?
Why you take it picture? What?
So it seems like they're up and operating today.
Huh? 230 client all.
Okay.
Right now is gone.
That's good.
Only me 3. Still I'm waiting. Driver.
Oh, for the driver?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, I'm waiting driver.
What kind of things do you guys do with the seniors?
Yeah.
Because, like, I have grandparents as well, and I want to know how I can keep them happy and occupied.
Yes,
so,
everything.
Yeah. So what kind
in the morning, breakfast, fruits, everything I'm eating.
Really?
All people.
Uh-huh.
Second is lunch.
Wow.
Everybody lunch. If you want it, you take it home.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of games do you guys play? Or
a lot of game.
Really?
Is their game. Just a lot of name.
Yeah.
But I don't speak good English.
Oh, and so your clients probably speak Somalian.
What? Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem like anybody in there speaks English. She was not happy at me for recording, but now she seems happy that she got to clarify that they give them breakfast and lunch.
You know what's amazing? You know, Nick Shirley really opened up a can of worms when he decided to take his cell phone and go and do a little investigation. And now, like, all these other independent reporters, independent journalists, truth seekers are out there doing the exact same thing. I mean, Shirley has spawned something that is now spreading to every single state in the country. Everybody is inspired by his work, and now the waterfall effect is happening. This is beautiful. Elon Musk, highlighting it, amplifying it as it should be. Let's continue here. Ned Ryan. This is staggering and also so obvious that, of course, Walz, Ellison, Omar, probably Klobuchar, every last elected Democrat in Minnesota have had to have known about it. Quote tweeting Derek Evans, Minneapolis sent $12 million in federal meal funds to a Somali restaurant claiming to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids daily.
The feeding our In December of 2021, the FBI installed a surveillance camera overlooking this building just off Lake Street in Minneapolis. At the time, it was Safari Restaurant, which overall took in $12 million in federal child meal payments through Feeding Our Future. Safari's former co-owner, Salim Saeed, is on trial alongside Amy Bach, the Feeding Our Future executive director. Safari claimed to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids a day. Its invoices and meal counts shown to the jury alongside the video. An FBI agent testifying that an average of 40 people came and went during the 6 weeks it was surveilled. The FBI set up a total of 12 cameras at sites claiming to serve extraordinary numbers of meals. Another was at a deli in St. Paul, also registered by defendant Salim Saeed, which claimed 1,800 meals per day. The video shown to the jury showed an average of 23 people a day coming and going. The jury was shown dozens of invoices, meal counts, and emails seized from Feeding Our Future's headquarters in St. Anthony. Some showed links to websites that randomly generated names and ages to create rosters of children who were served meals. Many were signed or sent by Amy Bach, who's charged with wire fraud, along with bribery for the alleged kickbacks that she received. Her defense attorney tried to raise doubt when it cross-examined the FBI.
I'm going to pause right here because Feeding Our Future, I mean, that whole scam was created and introduced by Ilhan Omar herself. She's at the top of the pyramid. We can't let that slide. The people like this guy who's on trial, he's just kind of, he's just one executing the plan. We need to go after the head of the snake.
Agent that they didn't see the back entrance where it's possible meals left packed in trucks for delivery. He pushed back, insisting they'd still see congestion. To that volume, he said, I would say it would not make any sense.
That case became one of the biggest COVID-era frauds in America. And the kicker, Minnesota's own Department of Education had red flags. Massive spikes in reimbursement requests, impossible meal counts, and they still rubber stamped the paperwork. Now, this new audit proves what everyone with a brain has been saying for years. Incompetence starts at the top. When the governor's own office is sloppy with receipts, how can he possibly keep his agencies in line? Republican Senate leader Mark Johnson said it perfectly. Quote, sloppy accountability at the top breeds waste and abuse everywhere else. And he's right about that. You cannot preach fiscal responsibility when you are overpaying employees, losing state property, and mismanaging vendor payments. And it's not just the Feeding Our Future mess. We've also got the Autism Services fraud case, another multi-million-dollar scam in the same state, involving clinics billing for therapy that never happened. And to make it worse, some of those same providers were linked to the Feeding Our Future network. It's the same pattern: inflated invoices, non-existent oversight, and zero accountability.
Oh, but accountability is on the way. Whether it's from President Trump's FBI, whether it's from citizen journalists, it's all getting exposed in real time, and every single state is about to fall. And the beautiful part is we're heading right into the midterms. President Trump sharing the reporting about how Ilhan Omar went from the poorest member of Congress to one of the richest, entering Congress in 2018 with a massive $65,000 debt, now worth $30 million in a few years. Here is Benny Johnson.
But she's also, how did the poorest member of Congress become one of the richest members of Congress in just a few short years, and she wasn't even born here? Ilhan Omar is the key to unlocking everything with the Somali fraud. Ilhan Omar has said many times that she is here to represent the interests of Somalia, and that's exactly what she's done in Congress. But she's also represented her own interests. Ilhan Omar entered Congress in 2018 as the poorest members of Congress. She had a negative net worth, negative negative $65,000 due to student loan and credit card and car debt. You'll find that at $174,000 a year, if she saved every single penny, she'd be worth a couple $100,000 after she paid off her debt. But that's not the case. Ilhan Omar is insanely rich. She's worth $30 million. How did that happen? Two things: massive fraud and her shady-ass husband and his shady finances inflating and ballooning exponentially Ilhan Omar's net worth. Ilhan Omar passed the Meals Act in 2022. This is an act that majorly deregulated the federal government's oversight of meals programs for children. This is the same.
This is exactly what I just said. Exactly what I just said.
Act that was used by her friends in Minneapolis in order to defraud the federal government of nearly $500 million. Ilhan Omar even worked at the kitchen that was committing the fraud, feeding the fake children, the real problem in Minneapolis, the daycares and the food centers. But then you get to Tim Mynett. This is Ilhan Omar's third husband. This is a shady Democrat operative that launched venture capital firms at the exact same time that Ilhan Omar and her friends were defrauding the American taxpayers with the Meals Act. Those venture capital firms were stacked with Obama and Democrat operatives, and guess what? Their valuation ballooned at the exact same time that the fraud was going on. Rose Lake Venture Capital is listed as a $30 million asset on Ilhan Omar's disclosures, yet they don't even have a physical office in Washington, D.C. For such a successful firm, you'd think there'd be something more than a WeWork address, but that's all they got. And they're also scrubbing the names of their board of directors, which used to be staffed with a bunch of Obama officials, former ambassadors, and DNC apparatchiks, now completely gone. What's going on here? Also, a bankrupt and fraudulent wine company is also listed on Ilhan Omar's financial disclosures as being something that is paying her something like $1 million to $5 million worth of net worth, even though this company is totally fraudulent. It's not real. You call it, it's not a real number. Well, let's go ahead and give him a call and find out. Oh no, user busy. Well, I've done this like 20 times today. Nobody ever answers because this wine company's fake. It was sued into bankruptcy because of, you guessed it, fraud. The name on one of their wines? The Devil's Lie. You can't make this stuff up. So Ilhan Omar has become obscenely rich in 1 year, going from one of the poorest members of Congress to one of the richest because of a shady venture capitalist company that nobody knows where their money's coming from, at the same time that the massive Somali fraud's ongoing and being paid by a defunct wine company that doesn't even have an operable phone number. The Devil's Lie. Ilhan Omar needs to be fully investigated for this fraud and her connection to it, and we need answers. We can't run a government like this. How did the poorest member of Congress become one of the richest?
Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? It tells you where it all is connected. See, Elon Musk, he looked at the evidence. He called it one giant scam. President Trump naming Ilhan Omar directly, saying she and others involved should be forced to leave the country. He calls out the Illinois governor. He calls out California. Then he said the words every corrupt operator has been dreading. We're not going to pay anymore. 3 states confirmed, but the investigation is far from over. The fraud triangle may just only be beginning. So this is why we do what we do. For weeks, this show has been connecting the dots while legacy media ignored the story. Fake daycares, shell nonprofits, political operatives getting rich off programs meant to help children. You saw it here. Now the President of the United States is confirming everything we've been reporting. Minnesota, California, Illinois, 3 states named, 19 billion confirmed stolen. But how deep does this actually go? How many other states are running the same scheme with better cover? You see, we don't know yet, but we're going to find out, and we're going to bring you the receipts. And we're going to keep tracking every lead until the full scope of this fraud is exposed. President Trump pulling the plug on 3 states, more may follow. So here's my question for the chat. How many states do you think are running this fraud? Drop your guess below, and make sure you check out the Next News merch shop linked in the description.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. Truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.